Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage, back to the race truck stuff. So I've been spending most of the last couple weeks kind of getting collected back from UCC. The garage is still a bit of a wreck, not what it was, but it needs to get more cleaned up. But we have racing to do, so I am planning on trying to hit a couple more events here in June. One is this weekend at MIR, Maryland International Raceway. I'm planning on going down there for Truck Mania. Never been to the event, but they have one class. It is the race truck class, so we have a race truck. That's the class we fit into. Like I said, never been to it or anything like that. Don't really know much about it other than there's a class we can drag the truck in, so that is the plan. So if you guys are heading down there Saturday, look for me in the pits. Hopefully we'll be there. You guys know how that goes. Something can always come up, but that is my current plan. Because like I told you guys before, I want to race, run, and just do as much with the truck as possible so we can learn more about it. So that is this Saturday, June 12th, at Maryland International Raceway. So it's actually a pretty local event to the house. It'll actually be like a day trip for me, which is nice. But we have some things to do to the truck to get ready for that. Most of our drag truck conversion, like back from sled pulling, is done. We do have our axle stops that we need to remove, which is pretty simple. We actually tack welded this one at UCC because when we put the there's a ratchet strap that goes around the axle. When we put that on, when you lift the truck up off of it, it would actually try and pull that thing out. So we just tack welded it to get by and make sure everything was good. Didn't want that sliding out and kind of hurting our sled pull. But since we have to take those out, I think there's some more weight we can lose off of this truck. So the truck at Rudy's in UCC was about 4,600 and like 65, 70 pounds. So the truck, and that's with me in it, which is a very solid number for weight on this thing, but we can be, for Prostreet, 4,400 pounds. So we can lose like 265, 270 more pounds out of the truck. If we could do that without doing a back half to the truck, if we could have a full factory frame, other than, this little bit back here, factory frame up to the rear axle, that would be awesome. It'd just be so much less work we would have to do this winter. My original plan was to back half it, but seeing how light the truck is already, if we can do it without having to do that extra work, because everything here just seems to be working for us, that would be great, and it'd just be less stress and hassle for trying to figure out a sled pull design for a back half on the truck for UCC. So maybe we'll tube the back here. I don't know. We'll do some other stuff. But I'm definitely looking for ways to shave weight, and maybe changing out this rear axle is one of them. If we could leave the 11.5 AAM in, that would be great. But that thing is awful heavy, and that would probably just take care of all our weight problems if we switch to like a 9-inch or something else. So anyway, in the essence of weight savings, we are actually going to pull the front axle out. So we're going to do a little front axle delete. Yeah, little joke. No, our front axle is obviously staying. It will remain a four-wheel drive. But since we have to get rid of these spacers, which this one will have to be ground off, we also have some miscellaneous weight here, like in our front bump stops. I know it's just a little bit there. We also have our front bump stop bracket here and the bump stop itself up here. So it is a little bit of weight that we can shave off the truck with just taking a few bolts out and rolling this thing out. So that's our plan for tonight. Kind of cut that weight out. Also, we have like these steering stops on the axle we can shave off. I already kind of shaved down the steering knuckles as much as possible, but we can shave those off. And I'm also thinking about drilling some holes in our bracketry for our rack and pinion steering, because those are 1/4-inch plate. They're way heavier than they need to be. So just going to try and take every resource possible, like we've done with the truck so far, and cut all the weight out of this thing. Is this going to get us closer to our 270 pounds off the truck? 100%. Is it going to be a whole heck of a lot? No. If we got 10 pounds out of it, I'll be shocked, to be quite honest. But that's the plan. We're going to just cut weight from everywhere we can before we go trying to back half or do an axle in the truck, because if we can get really close to that 4,400 with me in the truck, that'd be great. I mean, I could stand to lose 30 pounds. That would get us a whole lot closer, but, you know, that's not really as fun. So, anyway, let's get to removing our front axle and, yeah, cutting some weight off this thing. So, we got our steering to undo, our rack and pinion, our coilovers, our control arms, our brakes will have to be bled, and our front drive shaft. So, that's the plan. Unbolt this thing, roll it out, cut some weight off of it. So our temporary front axle delete has happened. Our front axle is now out from underneath the truck, and it was way more involved than it needed to be because, well, I screwed up. So I had the axle sitting, you know, on jack stands on either side, and then the frame itself was sitting on our two axle stops that we had for the sled pull. So we had basically some spacers in underneath of our bump stops to, you know, so when we put the weight box on the truck, it wouldn't bottom out our coilovers or anything like that. So when I got everything unbolted, I started to jack the truck up, not thinking that, hey, now there's nothing holding the axle where it's supposed to be. So the axle decided to turn, which was definitely a mistake on my part. My plan, what I should have done is set it back on the ground, then jack the frame up and put the jack stands underneath the frame originally, you know, back here. So just kind of screwed things up a little bit, but didn't mess anything up or anything like that. Just a simple mistake on my part. But our axle is out from underneath the truck. Just took a little more effort than it should have. So we're going to get to getting the rest of the weight off of the axle and off of the frame, really. The only thing we have to take off is our two bump stops off the frame. We'll look at it too to see while we're there if there's anything else we can delete off of the frame. But I think it's just those two little bump stops. So like I said, we're going to take weight off the truck, but it's not really going to be a whole heck of a lot. Just some stuff I saw hanging out there. It's pretty easy to do. So we're going to remove this pad off the axle. We are also going to cut some holes in our rack and pinion mount. I'll take this in the vise, our diff cover mount for the rack and pinion. We'll take that in the vise and cut some weight off of it. See if there's anything else. Like we have these little nubs on the steering knuckle, on the axle side of the steering knuckle we can get off. So like I said, not a whole lot of weight. If we get 10 pounds off it, awesome. Like I've been saying since we really started this project a long time ago, every ounce counts. So if we can get 10 pounds here, I can find 10 pounds in the rear, you know, that's 20 less pounds later, so on and so forth. It's all added up and it's all worked for us so far. Like I said, we're at like 46.65, 46.70 with me in it. So this was put us 46.55, 46.60, something like that. But it's just a whole every ounce counts kind of mentality, and it's something easy we can do, and it's just a little bit of time here in the garage. So I'm going to get to it. It's time to do what we've probably done on this thing more than anything. Cut, grind, and weld. The welding is, I never actually welded the back part of this axle. Does it need done? Probably not. We've sled pulled with it and everything was fine, but the axle's out, so why not? So it is 2 days later. So it is the second day after we had pulled the axle, or third. So we started this on Tuesday. Then yesterday, Wednesday, I did not record anything because I just was working, and well, it was raining outside, so I set the little canopy up outside the garage here so we could get our work done to the axle. And today, the third day, we will be putting the axle back in. So as you guys can see from our mounts for our rack and pinion here, we have cut a good bit of weight. So I hole sawed the bracket for the diff cover, the bracket for the other part of the rack and pinion mount. I kind of just did a couple little triangle things here, a couple hole saws, bada bing, bada boom, cut that weight out of the truck. So got this all looking good, fresh coat of paint. This is probably the best this axle's ever looked, but definitely got some weight out of it. Now there is still plenty of strength to all this. Like I said, this is all 1/4 inch plate. I made it way too big, thick, and robust to begin with, but that's why we are doing this now. So got all kinds of Swiss cheese kind of stuff going on our front axle. Also, we got our bump stop removed. We got our steering knuckles shaved down. The little steering stops, the nubs, they're gone. They're not necessary anymore because when we did our rack and pinion, we actually did lose a little bit of steering travel. So because these nuts that we welded our knuckles to, these nuts actually go into here a little bit. Because of that, we lost a little bit of steering travel, but it might just also be the fact that we're putting this on a 4-wheel drive and it's not mounted to, or it's mounted to the axle rather than the frame. I don't know 100%, haven't really worried about it, but yeah, we could definitely get more steering travel out of it before we did this. But it's a race truck, doesn't matter. We haven't had any issues with the steering, just might have to back up 1 or 2 more times here in the driveway. So got that all cut out. Got a little bit of metal off the truck, like I said. Kind of hoping maybe like 10 pounds, might be a little light. So anyhow, had some struggles between the heat, the humidity this week's been terrible, and the rain. So tonight is a pretty good night to throw this thing back in. We do have to cut our bump stops off the frame, which we should be able to make short order of. It's just welded here, and the same on the other side, so we can clean that up. And this one on the passenger side of the truck, it's just welded right up here. So a little bit more weight, like I said, hopeful, maybe 10 pounds, and then we will slap this sucker back in. But man, she is definitely looking a lot better with fresh coat of paint. She was looking yeah, rather dull compared to everything else. So that's the plan. Cut them things off, get our axle back in, and get this thing ready for Truck Mania on Saturday. We are back on the ground and ready to rock and roll. So we got everything buttoned back up. All of our front 4-link bars or our control arms are connected. Our front coilovers are connected. Our rack and pinion steering is connected back to the wheels and tires. We're on the ground. All that kind of good stuff. Also, our front differential is full of fluid. Rear differential full of fluid. Transfer case full of fluid. And our transmission is full of fluid to the point of not, until we start it and we can actually fill it correctly, it is ready for that point. But we are not going to do that tonight. So we are ready to rock and roll as far as a lot of that stuff goes for Truck Mania. There's still a few other things we got to do. It's just kind of a bunch of housekeeping stuff from UCC that I hadn't gotten taken care of. We got some loose wires in the cab. Got to get the front clip back on. Got to go over the truck with the pressure washer because there is dirt in all kinds of places there shouldn't be from the sled pull, which it's a drag truck. Why is there dirt on it from a sled pull? Yeah, I know that would blow most people's minds at the drag strip when you run a pass and then you say, yeah, well, we do this event where we sled pull on Sunday. So anyway, we got to clean all that up. We don't want to make a mess for people and all. But yeah, that front axle definitely is looking a lot better with a fresh coat of paint on it. And we are probably about 10 pounds lighter. So I have our stack of crap that we pulled off right here. I'll grab my scale. So it won't pick up the amount of weight we're going to weigh, but it will pick up our wheel spacer, which is 12.4 pounds. We'll take that off. Grab all our miscellaneous crap. So, wheel spacer's 12.4. We put all of our other weight on there. Hard to do with one hand. Wheel spacer with all of our crap, 22.2. So we cut all but 0.2 pounds of the 10 pounds I was kind of hoping to get. So that is awesome. So like I said, that wheel spacer is 12.2 or 12.4. We had 22.2. So we are 2/10 of a pound under our 10-pound goal. But we have a lot of miscellaneous grinding and kind of smoothing things out. So we probably did hit that 10-pound mark. So very, I shouldn't say very happy. We had a successful mission with our cutting a little weight off the front. I thought we could get 10 pounds out of it, and we did. Now, I say I'm not very happy or whatever. It's not that I'm not happy about it. It's just we're at the stage in the game with this thing where doing something like pulling the front axle to cut 10 pounds out is necessary. It's I'm trying to get the truck as light as possible for this racing season or throughout this racing season, trying to get that 4,400 pound minimum for Prostreet. So at UCC and Rudy's, we were like 46.65, 46.70, something like that. So we're like 270 pounds heavy. We can lose that much weight. Now we're like 260 pounds heavy. So we've cut 10 pounds out of the truck. Now we need to find other weight. I know we can put a lithium battery on the truck and stuff like that. There are ways to lose more weight. If we got a composite nitrous bottle, I think that would drop 10 pounds. But you're talking about like a $700 nitrous bottle. Yeah, I'd rather pull the front axle and try and get 10 pounds out that way personally. But that's where we're at. And if we can get, just kind of comb over this thing multiple times and try and pull as much weight out of this thing as possible and get close to that 4,400, I'll be really happy because I'm honest with you. The goal is to get down to our 4,400 pound weight limit without really messing with this, and that is the frame of the truck, specifically the rear frame. So if we can get down to 4,400 pounds without back halving the truck, I think that would be an impressive feat. I don't know that anybody has done that. Possibly they have. I have no idea. It's probably not something people really talk about much, but I would love to do it just because with the sled pulling for UCC and all that, it's less you have to, if we had to make a back half for this thing, we'd have to figure out a good way to make like a subframe or make the back half strong enough to support the sled pulling, yada, yada, yada. The thing works as a sled puller. It was pretty smooth as a sled puller, so I don't want to kind of screw with that as much as possible. So, like I said, it's a lofty goal. If we can do it without, back halving it, awesome. If we can do it without changing the axle and back halving it, even better. But that's definitely reaching a little bit. But that being said, like I said, trying to lose as much weight as possible this racing season. I don't think we're going to be able to swap an axle in there this season, but by the time you order stuff and then you got to fabricate everything, get it in the truck, dial it all in, because if we put a different axle in it, you got to put the 4-link brackets, yada, yada, yada. I just want to try and comb this thing down to as light as it can possibly be, but still be UCC ready and still be able to go out like every weekend that we can find an event to go to and do it. So that's what we did here. We pulled the front axle, we cut 10 pounds out of it, we put the front axle back in it, and this weekend, weather permitting, we are going to be taking this thing to Truck Mania at Maryland International Raceway. So definitely didn't think this was going to take 3 nights, but with the humidity, the weather, and all that, that's what happened. So by the time this comes out, which should be probably tomorrow, Friday, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow at Maryland International. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have ideas for weight savings, let me know. Like I said, lithium batteries and stuff like that are not out of the question, but free weight savings is always better. So let me know down in the comments if you got any ideas. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. Catch you guys on the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrench on your truck.